It's still almost unfathomable to me that politicians would actually consider using nuclear weapons in any type of warfare or conflict. Given the indiscriminate nature, given the destruction of these weapons, and given the widespread implications for climate, for environment, for health, for food, for security. So the fact that we still characterize nuclear weapons as vital to national security, I think is frustrating and fundamentally misunderstands the role that nuclear weapons would play in any type of destructive conflict. When we talk about nuclear weapons, I think it's really critical to challenge the notions that nuclear weapons have kept peace, that they prevented conflict between the US and the Soviet Union during the Cold War, and that nuclear weapons now are currently deterring conflict, because that essentially, rests on the premise, the idea that we would actually consider using these weapons in war. And when you think about the catastrophic consequences of such use, that option really should be off the table.
And despite the presence of those thousands and thousands of warheads, the two countries came to the brink of using them on several occasions.
They did. If we look back over the course of history, the number of times that the US and the Soviet Union, now Russia, have come close to nuclear exchanges, the number of times the United States has nearly detonated a nuclear weapon on its own soil because of an accident, it really is, we've really been quite lucky to have avoided an intentional or accidental nuclear exchange at this point. And my fear is that one day our luck is going to run out. So I think we need more focus on pursuing, creative options for arms control and disarmament. This is an issue that needs more political attention, and we really need to ask difficult questions about the morality and ethics of pursuing nuclear weapons and continuing to make them so integral in defining national security.
And yet, you don't hear very much about it. It's not a headline issue. We don't do our training in our classrooms of what we might do in the event of a nuclear strike. Why is the population no longer concerned about this as a proximate existential threat?
I think there are a number of reasons that we don't see nuclear weapons making the headlines like they have in the past. For one, I think nuclear weapons feel very abstract. They're not presenting the same risk that people experience in their everyday lives, where they may experience the effects of climate change, they may experience the effects of violent extremism. So the abstract nature of nuclear weapons, the fact that they feel less salient and less present, I think contributes to that. I also think that it's difficult for people to see agency in trying to confront the nuclear threat. Studies have shown that the public sometimes avoids even reading about nuclear weapons because they don't see where they have any agency in trying to prevent nuclear risk. They support the abolition of nuclear weapons, but don't actually feel like it's an achievable goal because of the complexity of the science, because the issue seems abstract, and because generally discussions about nuclear weapons are held in certain kind of small echelons of DC society and not made more widely accessible to the general public. So I think it's both the fact that the consequences don't seem as immediate as other threats, but also that people sometimes just feel powerless to know how to affect change in reducing nuclear risk.